Wong Kar Wai's fourth feature film Falling Angel can only be described as a naughty younger brother to Chungking Express. A surprising sequel that I didn't see coming. It was originally supposed to be part of Chungking Express but was carved out and expanded on to form its own movie. And what it does is something interesting and unexpected, which was to tell a more negative view on love and heartbreak. This is a movie that takes the whimsical nature of Chungking Express and adds a realism that a lot of people don't know how to handle such emotions, because it's about how not to move on. The characters in this film obsess over people that they love, but those people don't love them back. And instead of a happy ending, there is only sadness and realization that people who want that movie ending, where they get that fairy tale story, often don't. And because of that, they don't know how to deal with such emotions that a lot of people in the heat of the moment make rash decisions that put them and others in harm, which is most notable in the character of Wong Chi-ming. She works in the seedy underground business of assassinations, but not as the person who pulls the trigger, but instead she maps out the locations where the target will be and then relays that information to her partner. However, she falls in love with her partner, someone that she hardly sees but has been working with for a few years.
今次係第一次坐埋一齊，平時我哋唔多見面，因為人嘅感情係好難控制。最好嘅拍檔係唔應該有私人感情。
She becomes a lost soul that dreams of being with a man that does not want to be with her. But instead of moving on from this man, she obsesses over him by acting out sexual pleasures, sitting where he would normally sit at the bar, and going through his trash. And this forms into an unhealthy idolization for this person, similar to how people would fantasize over their favorite celebrities, or in the case of Wong Chi-ming, the person they want to love. We've all been there, where we would create the perfect life and scenarios with people that don't even know we exist. That's not that bad, but when you keep doing it and form an idea that the world you have created in your head is the only way to live, then it can set you up for major disappointment, which a lot of the time happens. Because what we dream and fantasize about are lives and moments that we know may never come true. And it's about setting up an expectation that we know what we think about is not reality or will never become reality. Otherwise, we set ourselves up for disappointment when what we expect to happen doesn't. And this is what happens to Wong Chi-ming. Her constant obsessing over a partner means that when a different outcome arises, the one that she does not expect, she doesn't know how to deal with. She loves someone so much that she didn't think there was ever going to be an outcome where he did not choose her. All that obsession from fantasizing and going through his trash is her manipulating herself thinking that he only loves her. But as we know through the movie, while she was thinking about him, he was off with another woman. Her love is a common one, more common than the love we see from characters like Faye or Cop 663 in Chungking Express. It's one that is harmful because to live in your own head and create that perfect world instead of trying to live in the real world is dangerous. As I know and as you know, the fantasies we create, the scenarios we create are all made up and never come true. There are so many times I think about how an interaction will play out, and out of the 100 I think of, it's the one that I don't think of that always plays out. I understand that and set myself expectations that there will be moments that are out of my control. This is something that doesn't happen with a lot of people, and when that one moment that is out of their control appears, they do not know how to cope with it. In this case is Wong Chi-ming and rejection. She loved a man that did not love her in the real world, but in her world, her mind, her thoughts, this man did. And so it wasn't just a random man that rejected her, it was the man in her mind that always loved her that rejected her. That's how obsessions and idolizing works. You're not idolizing your favorite celebrity or YouTuber or streamer or lover. You're idolizing the one in your head that you've created, and that's a big difference.
睇一個人留低嘅垃圾，你好容易知道佢最近做過啲乜嘢。
What also doesn't help her is that she is a person that is all alone. All we see her do is carry out her job, and away from that she sits at a bar by herself. The importance of having a support system when you feel at your lowest is a major factor in healing, because if you do it all alone, it is your thoughts that are already going through the motions that are telling you how bad certain situations are. But if you have someone around you, they can help you to forget and move on. They can tell you everything you need to know instead of you telling yourself how bad things are. And that's what I think Ho Chi-mu represents. At first, I wasn't too sure about why he was added back into this story, but when you look at him, he's the only character that isn't alone. The other characters all have interactions with other people, but they are all truly individuals wandering the street. But with Ho Chi-mu, he has a father, and that father becomes a support system for him. When Ho Chi-mu gets dumped by Charlie, a girl that leaves him because she is still in love with someone else, he doesn't crack like Wong Chi-ming. Instead, he begins to enjoy his company with his dad. By getting a camera, he records his dad doing mundane tasks such as cooking steak to sleeping, and through that he can forget about Charlie and move on. However, this isn't Chungking Express. In this movie, our characters don't get that happy ending. When Ho Chi Moo's father passes away, without that support system he becomes his old self again, mischievous and causing trouble. And then he becomes like the others, a true loner searching for love. If Chungking Express was about the beauty in love, then this movie is about the danger of love, and how 1 minute you are living up in the clouds with the dreams you've created of being with the person you love most, until reality hits and you start falling from those dreams and become another falling angel.